everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our weekly regional product training. And welcome to all our leaders and also members from Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, and also Philippines. Been with us tonight to listen and learn more about brains. Brains is an essential part of our body. They can control our mood, they can control our desire, and also habits. How the brain functions is still a big mystery for each of us. Getting good essential nutrients will help our brain function healthily. It will increase our productivity, improve our mental health, and eventually overall health. And at this time, our product specialist from Indonesia, Ms. Winda will share with us what's needed for healthy functioning brain so we can be more productive at work, we can be more productive at home and at our daily life. Without much further ado, let's have Mrs. Winda to share with us her presentations. Ms. Winda the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel. Good evening, everyone. So last week we also already learned something about brain because this is the essential part of our body. This is really important part of our body. We got only one brain, and it is plays a vital role in the whole functioning of the body. Let's say with the mood and our daily activities at work, have you been like feeling under the weather, sort of want to do something like, oops, sorry, I forgot. I need to share with you the screen first, yeah? There you go. Yeah. So have you ever feel like you are down, you're under the weather sometimes and don't feel like you want to do anything at all? And sometimes that although you are at work, but you don't have the thoughts to do your job, to finish your task, your body is in the office, but your mind is wandering somewhere else. And probably, let's say during the meetings, when people are doing discussion, brainstorming and sharing, and sometimes you get to really easily distracted, especially by gadgets, social media probably, and it makes you less productive, less creative, and not able to have a better clarity or thinking, or probably there's just too much work to do, too much task to finish, and it gives you some kind of mental breakdown. You feel kind of stressed, depressed because of the overload of your work. Sometimes it is not easy, I know, to do some kind of multitasking, especially like, let's say you are a parent of 2 kids or 3 kids or 4 kids, and you have to do your work in the office, you have to mind your child, and then you have to do the house chores as well. Or probably you are a working moms that after you finish working and then you need to go home, and then you need to tend to your children, and that takes up a lot of work. So it is really important that we all have healthy minds, healthy body, and overall we need a healthy brain to be able to do things that needs or necessarily we need to be done, such as decision making, better concentration, do some thinking, or getting more focused when finishing our task or daily task, or even doing a multitasking, and gives us a good emotional balance, affect the mood, the overall well-being too. So all of this requires the work of brain. This is if our computer have a CPU, then our body have brain. So that's why we need a healthy brain, a healthy functioning brain, as the brain is the common center of our body. Last week, my colleague Claudia already explained to us about healthy brains, and eventually healthy guts equals with the healthy brains. So in order to have a healthy functioning brain, we need to also take care our gut. And why is that become more important? Because a healthy gut brings good nutrients to our brains, and it allows us to do many other things. Brain is the command center, so it helps us to do a trivial jobs, a difficult task, finishing a daily life task, and it has a basic functions, the basic five senses, such as hearing, speaking, or doing writing, movements. Sensitivity, it helps us to think, to be able to sense something, reading, and it helps with vision. So these are all the basic skills that our brain do on top of the other stuff. So that's why we need a healthy functioning brain. So what's in the brain? When we look at the brain structure, we can divide it into two simple areas, the gray matter and the white matter. What makes these two different? Gray matter consists neurons. So these neurons helps us with learning capability. So it helps us to pay more attention when we are listening, when we are communicating. It helps us with increasing memory, better thoughts like decision making, helps with motor control, the movement, controlling the nervous system, the bones, the muscles, and better coordination, and helps with precision as well. So this is what the neurons do. And most of the neurons lays in the gray matter of the brain, while the white matter contains axons. Axons is like a connector. So if neuron is the center for doing all the thinking and the learning, the axons are the connector that helps us to carry the signals to the brain, to the nervous system, and giving reactions from the environment into the brain, and vice versa, from the brain into the environment. So with better axons, it carries better signals to the brain. And it helps with the normal motor and sensory function. So basically, when we do something like movement, when we touch or feel something, most of the sense is delivered by the axons of the brain. And axons lie mostly in the white matter part of our brains. What will happen if the brain cells have dysfunctions? So when you look at the brain cell on your right side, they are the neurons, the neural part, which is the soma. It is the center for the learning and creating abilities to think, pay more attention to the creativities and everything that comes with the learning process, while the axon is actually the cable that delivers the signals to the soma. So if this function happen in the gray matter, we call them as the neurodegenerative disease. And most common diseases that people knows are dementia, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson. So these three most common diseases attack the gray matter of our brain cell. And if this function happen in white matter, so it means that we have a disruption into the nerve signal. We won't be able to get the signal to the brain properly or respond to the environment properly. Some of the diseases or dysfunction that is happening due to the disruption to the white matter is multiple sclerosis. So the axon, the coating around the axon is damaged. So when the coatings is damaged, it won't be able, the brain cell won't be able to deliver signals to the nerve system, to the nervous system. It means that we have less sensory motor coordination. We won't be able to move as normal as before. And strokes is also very common. It means that the axon might die. The hardened blood vessel in the heart, in the white matter, cause all of these cells, the axon, the myelin sheath, to die. And when this part of the brain cell dies, it means that the neurons will also die because the hardening blood vessel won't be able to carry essential nutrients to the neurons. And it can cause eventually paralysis and other sensory issues. You won't be able to feel any touch. You won't be. You will feel numb mostly, and it can happen also when people have spinal cord injury due to accidents. So these are the type of brain dysfunctions that uh, people will commonly experience. And why does it matter to have a good nutrients that are essential for brain? Because we want to do a better functioning. We want to finish better our tasks better. We want to work more productively. And we want to be able to enhance memory. So it also fights diseases like dementia and the Alzheimer's too. And it helps with improving attention and eventually increase the learning capability. It has maximus potential, help us to think faster, especially in decision making, and better at following instruction due to the enhanced memories, and boost confidence eventually, especially with elderly and older people who needs to live more independently. And it helps with accelerate reading too. So with better reading capability, it better gives us better memory and eventually helps with the overall work done. So this is very essential, very important that we provide good nutrients for our brain. So today I'm going to share with you the 3 essential nutrients that are quite important for the brain, and they can be obtained through good diet or through supplements too. And these are the types of food that we eat in typical days. So what you think is the good foods here that will provide good nutrients for our brain? First, on the top left, we'll look at some of the deep fried foods. So this kind of food doesn't actually provide good nutrients because it's mostly high in saturated fats and also high in salts and doesn't provide much of the vitamins and minerals that are needed for our brain. while the wholesome food like fish are very good source of nutrients that provide omega-3, which is a polyunsaturated fats, and this is really good for our brain. These drinks, the sugary drinks, are particularly high in glucose or sugar. So although brain needs glucose as the fuel source, but we don't need as much as we get from these beverages and from these sugary snacks or drinks. Fruits and vegetables, however, it provides lots of good nutrients. It provides what we call as phytochemicals. These phytochemicals are antioxidants, minerals such as iron, zinc, magnesium, potassium, calcium, and the vitamins such as the folate, the B12, vitamins B6, vitamin C. These are good sources of antioxidant, vitamins, and minerals. So it helps to protect our brain cells. What about the next one? Noodles, not just particularly noodles, but mostly the instant food or the processed food. These are also not a good source of nutrients, although they are enriched with different kinds of vitamins and minerals in the packaging, but it doesn't necessarily contain all the needed nutrients that we can get from the natural wholesome foods. And most of these processed food, they are high in sodium, which is salt that we don't need too much in our body. And lastly, grains or cereals, the rice that you eat every day. This is still a good source of food. So in the end, if you are, if rice is your staple food, then it is good to have different kinds of grains. The white rice, the black rice, brown rice, red rice. So this is still have good nutrients in it. Different kinds of grains provide different compositions of nutrients. So it is good if you can mix some of these grains, not just from rice, but from wheat also, and from different kind source of food, like the oats, also good source of nutrients for your brain. So this is still okay. And the first and most important nutrient that I'm going to talk today is the omega-3 polyunsaturated fatty acids. So unlike the processed food that high in saturated fat, this omega-3 is a polyunsaturated. So this is very important for the brain, and it is the type of fat that is good for our brain because 60% of our brain consists of fat, and it is good to have the unsaturated types because the saturated fat will eventually block the blood vessels, and if these block the blood vessels in the brain, it can cause disease such as stroke. EPA and DHA are the two types of the PUFAs or polyunsaturated fatty acids that we need for our brain. Sadly, unfortunately, the types of diet that we have every day is really low in omega-3 PUFAs. So what we need is to consume more food that high in omega-3, such as fish, and some seafood also contain good source of omega-3 too. Next nutrient that is good for our brain are antioxidants and minerals. The antioxidants, particularly, it helps with protecting the cell, the brain cell itself. The neurons can be damaged by different kinds of condition, externally or internally. Externally, such as the pollution, bad lifestyle or bad habits, stress, drugs, medication, and these antioxidants will help protect the brain cells from the damage, and it helps to improve communication between the brain cells. Remember the axons, it protects the axons too, the cable that transfer the signals from and to brain to the environment. Next, a type of mineral that is also good for our brain is iron. The iron, if you lack of iron, you can feel tired very easily, loss of focus, as well as concentration. So this is not good. And iron helps us with improves memory and thinking skill. And it helps with carrying oxygen to all body tissues. So iron binds with the hemoglobin, the red blood cells. It carries the oxygen through the whole body. And lastly, the interesting thing, and it is recently founded by scientists, that polyphenols are the good source of nutrients that is good for our brain. There are two types, several types of polyphenols, but today I'm going to discuss about this chlorogenic acid, theobromine, and caffeine. Chlorogenic acids helps with cognitive function and improves the mood, while theobromine and caffeine helps with energy level, better stamina, and enhanced mental performance. These are not chemicals. Polyphenols are naturally found in plants in nature. So we don't take any chemicals. This is not chemicals. It's just a natural chemicals that's found in plants. And you can actually find polyphenols a lot in plants like tea and coffee bean. Today, I'm going to share with you Unicity products that are rich in these nutrients for our brain, rich in omega-3, antioxidants, the minerals, as well as the polyphenols. The first one is Unimate. So what is a Unimate? Unimate contains lots of polyphenols. It is a mate drink. So if you know the plants, we call as yerba mate. And yerba mate has been consumed by people in Brazil, in South America for probably a century or so. So it is a common drink in South America, in Brazil as well. And in Unicity Unimate, you can get 3 grams of mate extract in 1 sachet. And that's already quite a good value to take every day. So the question now, why the Unimate is so special? What makes it different from just drinking the yerba mate leaves? Just put the leaves in and use hot water to extract. So it's a different process with Unimate actually. We have our own farm of yerba mate. We grow our own yerba mate. It's hand-picked, and then it's processed like the roasted, and then with special technique of extraction, we make it into the concentrate. So not just the leaf, and then we put it into some hot water, and then we get the concentrate. So it's better, it's more powerful, and contain more of the nutrients, the polyphenols that is needed for the brain, the chloric acid, caffeine, and theobromine, and also other antioxidant. And with the Unimate, although it's only 3 grams, but it is containing the purified extracts. So it's a bit different from the regular yerba mate drinks. In total, the content of chlorogenic acids in Unimate is hundreds more than the regular yerba mate powder. So with the small sachet, you get more powerful effect. And when you compare it with the chocolate, of course, it's much more than the taking just drinking chocolate drinks. And if you take tea such as the green tea or black tea, then it has definitely much more chlorogenic acid than the tea. And compared to coffee, it's still much higher than the coffee. So that's why Unimate, although it's only in a small sachet, but it contains more polyphenols. So this is why Unimate is so special. You can just take one a day, and then it helps you with better mental focus, with better concentration throughout the day, and more energy to finish your task. Here are some of the studies that have shown chlorogenic acid benefits. It can actually reverse the cognitive impairment. So although the research is done in mice, not in human, but it already show a significant improvement in the spatial memory and learning. So mice with more chlorogenic acid, that given more chlorogenic acid, actually have better memory and better cognitive in remembering the maze. They can go back to the start and to finish. So chlorogenic acid helps with memory. Other studies also show that chlorogenic acid can inhibit the aging process of your brain cells. So it prolongs the lifespan of your brain cells. With better lifespan of brain cells, it means that we can prolong or we can prevent diseases or brain dysfunction like dementia, like the Alzheimer's, Parkinson, and it helps us with slowing down the aging process. In Unimate, it affects the gene expression in the brain with the content of different active polyphenols such as the chlorogenic acid, triterpene, saponins, theobromine, and caffeine. So that's why we call Unimate as the genome-ceutical products, because it acts directly on the gene expression. Next nutrient that is good for our brain is the omega, and you can get this from Omega Life 3 Resolve. The omega-3 resolve contains both EPA and DHA, and it is in very high amount. The function of EPA and DHA are a lot. It helps with cognition, reduce joint pain if you have rheumatic arthritis. It helps with neurodegenerative diseases. It helps with your heart and blood vessels health. Actually, omega-3 can help with flexibility of the blood vessels. So it allows the heart to function better. It allows the blood prevent clogging in the blood vessels too. It helps with better coping with stress. So prevent the depression and good for childhood development with IQ especially, and increase the sports performance. So this is what the Omega Life 3 Resolve can have, and it contains a compound named resolvin. This resolvin acts as the anti-inflammatory. So it helps to ease pain. It helps to reduce the inflammation in our body. Some of the studies already show that supplementing omega-3 on daily basis can help with the health of the brain cells. So it prevents the damage of the brain cells, especially in the white matter part. And omega-3 can help with improving cognitive and mood, although it's if it is taken daily by healthy adults. So not only those who have problems with depression, mental health or stress, but also healthy people can take omega-3 daily as a supplement. So how much do we need a day of EPA and DHA? In total, we need around 1200 milligram. And in fish oil, if you take many fish oil that is sold in the market, you will see 1000 milligram of fish oil. So does it mean we need to take 2? No, not yet. So you need to look at the labels first. So 1000 milligram of fish oil doesn't mean that you get 1000 milligram of EPA and DHA. So it's two different things, yeah? So when you take, let's say, a capsule of 1000 milligram fish oil, have you got the total 1200 milligrams of EPA and DHA? No, you don't. So what we need is we need to compare the labels. Let's say 1000 milligram of fish oil. Look at the labels here. How much EPA and DHA you get? So this one, 1000 one soft gel will provide us with 180 milligrams of EPA and 120 of DHA. It means that in 1000 milligram of fish oil capsule, we only get around 300 milligrams. But with Omega Life 3 Resolve, look at the amount of EPA and DHA. When we take this Omega-3 Resolve, we get 1000 milligrams of EPA and 500 milligrams of DHA. It means in one supplementation daily, we already get around 1500 milligrams of EPA and DHA. So these are very different. So that now that we need to pay more attention to the labels at the back of the supplement. The last product that can help us with better brain function is Chlorospirulina. Why? Chlorospirulina is made from a plant in the sea, which is a blue and green algae, and it is rich in iron. We know that we need iron because it's good for the brain cells. It improves the nerve function, so especially the axon that carry the signals from brain to the environment and from the environment to the brain. Improves blood circulation that eventually helps with delivering nutrients, the essential nutrients, to our brain tissues, and also helps with regenerating damaged cells and helps with convert fats to lean muscle. It means that it burns energy, providing us with more energy throughout the day. And also contain phycocinin, which is an antioxidant. We know that antioxidants protect our cells from the free radical damage, like the pollution, the stress, the lifestyle, the bad habits that we do every day. These are harmful to our cells, not only the brain cells, but the overall body cells. So we need antioxidants. And so the conclusion, the cells, our brain need nutrients. So the nutrients essentials are the omega-3, antioxidants, and some minerals, and as well as some of the polyphenol, which is also an antioxidant. Unimate contains chlorogenic acid that can give you a positive effects on mood and also the mental performance. While Omega Life 3 Resolve contains high amount of EPA and DHA that are great for brain function. So these are the 3 products that you can take daily as a supplement for any age. Well, with Unimate, you can, it is recommended for adults, while the chlorospirulina is good for kids, uh, pregnant and breastfeeding women as well as the Omega Life 3 Resolve is good for kids, elderly, pregnant, breastfeeding, and pretty much everybody. So these two, omega-3 and chlorospirulina, can be taken by everyone at any age, and Unimate is suggested or recommended to be taken daily by adults. If you still have any questions, you can send your questions to our email with Indonesia or with Malaysia too. So thank you for listening to our training tonight. And don't forget, next week we will have Jillian to explain more about the brain function, how we cope with stress, how we cope with mental health, and how the brain works. So we will have a series of trainings that we will get a deep insight about the brain works. Okay, I got a question here. How about the dose of using these products? While the Unimate, you can take one in the morning because Unimate makes you feel more alert, more aware. So it is best to take in the morning before you continue, before you begin your daily activity with okay, with the chlorospirulina, you can take 3 capsules a day. You can teenage or kids can take around 3 teenage age from 12 years old can take 3. 12 years old or under take 1 a day. And omega, well, mostly people will need around 1,000 a day. And for growing kids, we'll need a bit more. So you can take the 4 soft gel daily for omega. For growing kids, 12 years old or under, you can take 2 capsules a day with omega. Can be, yeah, Unimate can be served both hot or cold. So it's up to you how you want to serve the Unimate. Yeah, it's basically like drinking tea. So if you feel like a hot tea, then you can use Unimate with some warm water, not too hot. Be careful, you will with your throat, yeah. And when is Resolve and Chlorospirulina coming to Malaysia? So with this one, probably, yeah, the team from Malaysia can answer for you later. To reconfirm, chlorospirulina and omega is highly yes, chlorospirulina and omega is recommended for pregnant women. With pregnancy, especially on the first trimester, the recommendation, the required daily intake eventually increase. So you can still take the full dose of omega life 3, like the 4 soft gels a day. And with chlorospirulina, you can take 2 to 3 capsules a day. So it is safe for pregnant women. And why it is also recommended? Because the baby growth needs EPA and DHA for its brain development. And chlorospirulina contains a lot of iron as well as antioxidant that can prevent later problems, health problems with pregnancy, such as the gestational diabetes mellitus, eclampsia, or high blood pressure during pregnancy. So antioxidants, it prevents those complications in pregnant women. And iron is really needed because most of the pregnant women will produce a lot more red blood cells for the baby. So the total number of red blood cells will increase around 50%. So 1.5 times much more than the non-pregnant women. So that's why you need more iron to uh, prevent any risk of anemia. So when pregnant women experience nausea, experience some kind of anemia, you feel dizzy when you are sitting or when you are standing, it means that you are lack of iron. For adult, how many soft gels with omega? 4 soft gels a day for adults. And 12 years old and below, you take 2 soft gels a day. Thank you. Unimate and Chlorospirulina, do we need to take care not to take in the evening? Might they affect sleep since it can make us alert? Yes, that's true. That's why it is suggested to take Unimate in the morning before you begin your activities. But with Chlorospirulina, it is actually some kind of food addition, food supplement, so you can take any time of the day. I would suggest if you take 3 times a day, so one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and one in the night, that's fine because it's mostly contain just antioxidants and some minerals. So it is fine to take chlorospirulina divided into 3 times during the meal times. Hot water will not kill the polyphenols in Unimate. Well, some of the polyphenols might be affected with heat, especially the chlorogenic acid, because chlorogenic acid is not really resistant to heat, but usually the amount of chlorogenic acid decrease only a few when it is exposed to extreme heat, like the roasting, like the cooking until boiling. So if you put just warm water with the Unimate, it is still fine. Okay. You mentioned that omega resolve enhance sport performance. When is best to take it, before or after sports activities? The amount of EPA and DHA eventually helps with muscle regeneration. So you can take after the sports when you finish with high intensity sports or extreme sports especially. Also take the omega with the quadplex, don't forget. Just a scoop of quadplex, it provides you with protein and also the BLA. Yeah. And then any other questions? How about Unimate fuel? So it is a bit different with Unimate fuels. Unimate fuel contain not just the mate extract, not just the chlorogenic acid, but also contain the MCT. So it gives you also some energy with burning fat, increase the ability of body to burn fat while you do some exercise. So don't forget to tune in next week because my colleagues from Filipina will explain to us about the difference with the Unimate and Unimate fuel too. Can omega be consumed on empty stomach? Yes, it is safe to be consumed on empty stomach. It won't cause any gastric problems. And Unimate can be taken with hot water. Yes, I would suggest warm. Be careful with your throat, not very hot. And Unimate it's because of the fat content. It has more calorie than the regular Unimate. Yeah. Hot water tastes better. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes the aftertaste is a bit bitter, like when we drink coffee, right? Yeah. All right. So everyone, is there any more question? Okay. When is the best time to take chlorospirulina? Before meal or after? So chlorospirulina will not cause any problems with your gastric. So you can take any time of the day. If you want to, you can take before meal too. Yeah. So you can take one capsule of chlorospirulina before your meal and then you start eating and that's fine. But usually before you have your meal, you will take Bios Life S or Bios 5 minutes before you eat, you will take Bios 7 or Bios Life S or Bios Life C, right? Don't forget. It is easier to take together. Yeah, even during the meal, in the middle of your meal, you can take chlorospirulina and omega life 3 together and it's fine. Yeah. All right. Is it true that it will help lose weight if it taken before meal? Uh, Actually, the chlorospirulina help you lose weight when you take it before you do your exercise. Because when we do exercise, we burn more fuel for the activities, right? So with chlorospirulina, it will improve the fat burning. So it increases the energy and gives us more energy during exercise. So it is best to be taken during exercise if you want to lose weight. But for regular daily intake, you can take it with your meal. It's fine. Back to Unimate. Yeah, I think lots of fans of Unimate to be taken with hot water here. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. And see you again next week on the next training. Don't forget, we still want to get a deep insight about the work of our brains. Okay. Yeah. Good evening. Have a good rest, everyone.